So if a man is in a position where he is emotionally entangled with his mother, it is likely to show that he is emotionally underdeveloped. And so he will look like a man, but at an emotional level, he will feel like a child. And so in order for his life to change, he will need to emotionally grow up. Because at this point in time, he may not even realize that he is out of balance and that he is overly preoccupied with his mother. And his greatest need, most likely, will not be to please his mother. It will be to keep his pain at bay. And through being there for her, it will allow him to keep this pain at bay and to keep it together. And this is because he most likely won't have a strong sense of self. Who he is, how he comes across, will be a false self. And so it is like he will have a house that is built on sand. And the feedback that he receives from his mother and other people can allow him to keep this false self in place. But if this feedback was to stop, or if, more importantly, if he was to live his own life and to freely express himself, then this false self would start to fall apart and he would come into contact with a lot of deep pain. And this is because he didn't receive the nutrients that he needed, because most likely his mother used him during his early years to meet some of our adult and unmet childhood needs, so he would have missed out on the love, the care, the nurturance that he needed to develop a strong core and to grow into an adult who could handle life. And so at this point it can seem as though it was his mother who did the most damage, because if she had given him what he needed, he would be fine. But if the man became aware of what was going on and he started to work through his pain, and this is likely to be something that will take many years, it could even take the rest of his life. But through doing this work, he will see changes, he will be able to move forward. And so as he starts to grow out of the symbiotic state that he was in and starts to emotionally grow up, he can start to see that it is not just his mother who had a big impact on him. And when it comes to his mother, he can be working through the fear of being abandoned along with the inner experience of being abandoned. And this is because although he would have done his best to not be abandoned, most likely he would have been abandoned. And this was probably something that took place many, many times. So he will be working through many, many layers of pain. There won't just be one layer and that will be it. But of course, each time he was abandoned because he was unable to do anything about it or to run away, he would have most likely disconnected from himself. And this would have created another layer which would have covered up his true self. And so the more pain that he works through, the greater his connection to his true self is likely to be. And in addition to the impact that his mother had, he can also come to see that there was also the impact that his father had on him. And so if the wounds that relate to his mother relate to the fear of being abandoned and being abandoned, the wounds that relate to his father can relate to the fear of being harmed and being harmed. And so his mother would have harmed him very early on, and then as the years went by, his father would have also harmed him. And in both of these cases, most likely it wasn't something that took place consciously, so it was not that they consciously did their best to screw him up. But anyway, and the reason why he can have this fear of being harmed and the experience of being harmed is because when he was younger, if he didn't do what his mother wanted, or perhaps his mother was just emotionally unstable and accused him of doing something, then his father may have ended up dishing out the punishment. And so his father may have physically harmed him whenever he displeased his mother. So this would have given him an even greater need to please his mother, because not only may he have been abandoned, he may have also been harmed as well. And so this will be another hurdle that he will need to overcome in order to freely express who he is. And so he won't just have the fear, he will have had the experience of being harmed. And so many years will have passed, but what took place externally will have been internalized, and so what his parents said and how they behaved would have ended up playing a big part in his inner voice and how he will speak to himself. And so, due to the experiences that he had, he will be controlling himself from the inside. So at one point he was controlled from the outside, and now he will be controlling himself from the inside. And when he was harmed by his father, this probably would have been a time when he experienced fear and terror and felt completely helpless, because he was helpless. When he was abandoned, as I said, he couldn't do anything, and when he was being harmed, he couldn't do anything. His father would have been like a giant, and he wouldn't have been able to fight back or to completely leave the environment. And so he will carry a lot of deep pain and a lot of trauma, and so his nervous system can be completely loaded up. And in order for him to emotionally grow up, to feel whole and complete, and to freely express himself, it will be essential for him to work through this pain and this trauma so that he can live a life that is worth living. Because what took place wasn't his fault. He didn't deserve to suffer. He didn't deserve to be punished, to be left, to be harmed. But in order for him to realize this, he will need to reach out for external support and to gradually heal his wounds. So if you're a man and you can relate to this, please know that it wasn't your fault and that you don't deserve to suffer. You deserve to live a great life. So please reach out for the assistance that you need to gradually change your life. To find out more about the services that I offer and how I can assist you on your journey, go to www.oliverjrcooper.co.uk or email me at info@oliverjrcooper.co.uk. I'm looking forward to assisting you on your journey.